Hello, I'm Frank McSheen with Square Peg Consulting at the Whiteboard. I'm a supply chain cash guide, and these are the components of the business-to-business supply chain as I see it. And there are opportunities to generate more cash in every part of this process. Let me show you what I mean. Hello. In this week's session of changing our focus from cost control to cash generation, we're going to talk about the styles of leadership that are available to us and how we match that to the situation that's required to generate better results. I use a tool called a predictive index, which I've mentioned before. It measures certain drives in people in relation to people being either more technically oriented or more people oriented. It measures two drives, which we call A and B. That's the level of independence that someone has or the level of extroversion, outgoingness that they have. And what we find is if you find somebody with a good bit more independence compared to average, so they operate pretty independently, and they're more on the reserved analytical side, those people tend to be the more technically oriented types. They focus on processes, procedures, technology of getting things done, as opposed to so much on the people involved. They tend to communicate pretty directly and bluntly at times. They tend to communicate in facts and figures and business-oriented communication, not very social. They tend to problem solve by themselves. They tend to think things through and develop an answer or a solution to the problem on their own. They tend to resist delegating authority to others. They tend to try and keep control of that. They delegate tasks pretty readily, but not authority. And decision making, they tend to do that on their own too. They think things through, make a decision, and then announce the decision to their direct reports. If we see the other arrangement where we have much more extroversion in a person than the independence, then they're more on the collaborative side. This is more the people orientation. So let's label these. People oriented this way, sorry, and technically oriented on the top version. So they have much more of a social approach to communication, tend to be more complete in their explanation of things. They entertain questions, and they have a more two-way conversation with people. When it comes to delegating, they tend to be more optimistic about people, and therefore they tend to be more willing to delegate some authority to people. And as people gain their trust and show their results, they get more and more authority delegated to them. Problem solving, they tend to pull people together into a group and talk it through and come to a consensus of the solution. As well as making decisions, they tend to make decisions with other people's input more so, and sometimes more on a consensus basis. That can be a strength in certain cases. It can also hold you back in making tough decisions, trying to get a consensus there. So it's important to think through what the role is requiring. So in highly technical roles like R&D, engineering, IT, accounting, those kind of things where it's really focused on numbers, data, results, technical, technology, all those kinds of things. We're probably going to want to see somebody a little bit more on the technically oriented side in a leadership role. In sales, in production management, in those kind of influencing HR roles, those types of things, where we're really influencing, leading people, that's the focus, primarily on the people. There's definitely a necessary piece of it of focusing on results, but we're trying to do it through people, engaging them, getting them involved in things. Then we might want to look for a more people-oriented person. Even on the technically oriented side, some companies have a challenge here where they're trying to promote a highly technical, highly accomplished engineer or IT specialist or something into a leadership role, project management, department management, etc. And they struggle because now it's about leading people and not so much about the actual technology and the techniques and processes that we're getting done, that they are using to get things done. They have to get it done through other people. So I would be concerned if somebody's level of extroversion was way down on the low side. They're going to struggle in dealing with the uncertainties of working with people and the gray areas of managing people. So we might want to look for somebody whose extroversion is still on the high side, yet their independence is still higher. So they still have that technical task kind of orientation to them, but they have that natural communication style as well. They can listen, have two-way communication, deal with questions, persuade and influence people more naturally. On the people-oriented side, if they are leading in a little more technically oriented atmosphere, then we want to see that independence level is still somewhat on the higher side, but the extroversion is still further to the right, more of that in this case. And so they have that ability to think things through analytically and really grapple with technology and task orientation, putting pressure on people, numbers, details, etc. But they can do it in a way that really engages the people and gets them involved with their ideas and their input and keeps things on a positive note. Thank you.